There's a really incredible community of people who are not only designing and building really great buildings in Brazil, but they're operating and maintaining them with the same level of professionalism. I'm Nicolette Mueller, and I'm USGBC's Director of Global Market Development for Latin America. What I'd like to talk to you about today is how LEED is advancing throughout Latin America. We've seen great success throughout the region, and I think that it's really been chiefly led by the leadership of Brazil. Over 4,000 projects participating in LEED in Latin America. 1,500 of those are LEED certified. This represents over 100 million square meters of space participating in LEED in the region, and this really has to do with the two top markets in the region. Brazil is number one, with 1,000 projects participating, and nearly 500 of those are certified, and Mexico is number two. Our first LEED certification in Brazil was in 2007, and we saw sort of steady uptake in the market since then. So we've seen some commercial office buildings, commercial interiors projects. Then in 2011, things really started to change and the market became a little bit more dynamic. We started to see operations and maintenance projects, we started to see retail, we started to see other market sectors adopt LEED. 2014 with the World Cup was obviously a boom year. There's a number of really amazing stadium projects that happened in Brazil. And then we started to see a lot of diversity in the market. So you have schools, you have neighborhood development, you have existing buildings, you have new commercial office towers, you have commercial banking sector adopting LEED. There were a number of really great and important projects, and I think that a lot of the success stories from Brazil then emanated throughout the region. We've been tremendously grateful as well for the support of GBC Brazil, who's been an important ally in the region. Felipe Faria and his staff have done a tremendous job creating the community and the platform for leadership that we really needed in order to be successful. And so I think the partnership with GBC Brazil has been fundamental to the success of LEED in the region. And we're really looking forward to strengthening that in the coming years. Brazil has a lot of fame in the region for having 33 certified projects that have achieved the platinum level, which is the highest possible level that you can achieve. But it's worth noting that over 50% of all of the projects certified in Brazil achieved LEED Gold, which is a tremendous accomplishment. I think when we think about what it means to have a leadership standard for a building, to say that the majority of the buildings in the market are achieving gold is a really important outcome for Brazil. So if we're talking about LEED, we have to talk about all of the amazing projects that are happening in Sao Paulo, because that's really where the highest density and the highest concentration of LEED projects are happening. There's a great project called CYK that's in Sao Paulo that's achieved LEED Gold. This is a project that reduced its monthly water consumption by half. It went from 2,000 cubic meters down to just 1,000, and it also reduced their electricity consumption by 20%. There's another really amazing project that's worth talking about that's called the Colegio Positivo Internacional in Curitiba. This is another LEED Gold project that achieved 80% savings in water and 75% energy savings compared to traditionally built schools. I think if we're talking about the trends and what's going to be next for Brazil, the early adopters in the market and some of the early movers were multinational companies coming in, groups like Nike saying, this is a core part of our standard and our brand. We want to be in a LEED space, we want to rent LEED space. But then over time we've seen a lot of change in the market where now Brazilian owned and operated national firms and companies are saying that they also want to have LEED certified space. So that's a really big shift in the market when you move from the push to the pull. So we hope to see more of that in the future. The second big trend that I think is coming is a much bigger focus on existing buildings. With the ARC platform, the number of projects engaged in tracking their performance on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis in Brazil has skyrocketed. We now have a huge number of LEED certified projects that are participating in the ARC platform in Brazil that are tracking their data, reporting it, and now pursuing LEED through the ARC platform.